Yo, hello everyone. Welcome back to OG Creatives Podcast. I'm Miki, the co-host.
It's like the third time we've done this intro. Hello, I'm Will. How are you doing, Mickey? How you been?
Are we keeping this one?
I think we should keep this one, yeah.
We're going
We're struggling with how to start it. Anyway.
So yeah, we're this is episode 3. We actually had some nice feedback from people, didn't we?
Yeah, we both wanted to make a point of mentioning it because obviously when you start a new podcast, it's hard to know. You're sort of hoping people listen, and we're getting quite a few listeners on the stats, but it's always really nice to get people interacting and feeding back on Twitter. So do you want to shout out one of yours?
Zero Alpha NZ, a brother from another hemisphere down from New Zealand, a really cool guy, creative, digital artist, visual artist, really nice guy. Had some cool chats with him just on Twitter about NFTs and just various things. Like I like what he's up to, and he's kind of helped me as well. He's promoted some of my stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's it. That's why I want to. Yeah, I want to shout out Chris Eubanks as well on Twitter, just because it means like a lot. I know it might be a bit stupid, like shouting out your only fans or whatever, but it really does like mean a lot that people are listening to it and people are enjoying it, and you know that someone other than just your friends, because obviously when you're starting out, it's your mum and dad and your friend listening. So it's good to know that we're slowly building and that these people are actually. I really appreciate people retweeting and commenting and actually trying to help us grow and giving us encouragement. So I just wanted to say thanks for that.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Yeah, pretty good. Busy week.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's been hectic. It's been a wild week for people into crypto.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people panicking and a lot of memes going around on Twitter and stuff. Yeah,
a lot of what kind of memes?
There's a lot of solidarity. Kind of it's nice, man. It's like when the crypto's just plunging, and obviously all the NFT people have all got their skin in the game, and then they're just all sending around, Hodor memes, huddle, and all that kind of stuff. And like picture sweating, the classics from Airplane, isn't it? The guy sweating, It's like, it was quite nice to see like a bit of solidarity, a bit of everyone's feeling the same way.
Yeah, no, I think everyone's kind of, I suppose everyone's in the same boat that's been like riding this wave on this kind of like, we're ruling the world, we're changing it together, as in like, shit, what's happening? No, hold, stay strong, stay positive, you know what I mean? Let me hear some positive quotes.
There's always some old dudes as well who are like, let me tell you, I've been in the game for 10 years and I've sinned, this isn't my first rodeo. Like, just hold on. Like,
nah. Yeah, everyone's just hold on. Well, it's true. To be honest, I've not been in it that long, 10 years. I've kind of dipped in and out of crypto over years. And I think I feel confident that this is just a dip. This is like it's the end of the bull run. It's like a season. The way I'm looking at it now, it's like a football season. It's like we're all like kind of cheering on, it gains some momentum, it goes up, goes high, and then it reevaluates itself to a price that's more.
Like, I'm no financial advisor, but when you look at the graph and you see, basically there was a huge exponential peak, do you know what I mean? And it's like quite obvious. You can see the level where it needs to get back down to be a nice continual slow growth, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, it gets ahead of itself and then it's like, whoa, no, tiger. And then it goes back down to kind of reasonable where it should be.
And it'll probably kind of like go down a bit or settle for a little while. Last time we had like even a few years of like slow growth, so who knows, it might be in, but who knows, I think the cycles could be getting quicker, they could be getting longer.
Well, I mean, this is what's caused, so the whole crash was basically caused by China saying that crypto is going to be illegal
that's right.
Pretty much illegal across the board.
That's right. Like, I mean, well, if we go back to Elon Musk's harmful comments about Bitcoin and how that kind of drove the price down rapidly, which is strange. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was aware of the so-called environmental impact of Bitcoin and mining before they invested however many $1 billion they did.
Yeah, is that why they? I think that's probably an excuse. I reckon he must have known something about the China.
Exactly. Or basically going down a route, being like, well, why support? They could just make their own cryptocurrency. I mean, couldn't you'd be like Tesla coin?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and then the China thing happening, that was like another big thing, which is kind of weird. If you think about it, it's like made everyone else, like a lot of people panic and say, oh, well, China's not trading now. And so, but then, you know, how hard is that? How easy is that to police? And how hard is that to do in China? I wonder. I mean, I'd like to speak to someone.
Well, they say it's still legal to hold it, isn't it? It's like drugs or something. It's legal to carry it. It's not legal to buy it. Like Amsterdam. So, yeah, you can have it. I don't think you can trade it. But, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But it's interesting that China's it's quite a big move. I know people were sort of talking about it's all going to collapse when governments start to ban it.
Well, quite a few places.
I hope this isn't what's happening.
Well, I mean, already a few places have. It's not like China's the first one, but I mean, it's a big country and a big move for them to do that. It seems kind of like, how can you see it? Can you see it ever being banned in places like the UK or the United States? Or,
well, that's what I was going to say earlier. It's quite interesting because China have banned it because of the volatility. And I do kind of see that. It's like a lot of people, I mean, everyone's desperate. Do you know what I mean? People are desperate to kind of make their way in the world and all that stuff. And it's like you put more and more money into this crypto, and their argument is it's so volatile that, yeah, you could make loads of money, but a lot of people, it's basically gambling. It's essentially gambling.
How far do you think it can go? I wonder, do you think like, okay, here, we live in the United Kingdom. You live somewhere where you believe, or most people believe, is a fairly, you know, tolerant, open society. Sure, probably you'll see that one of the most spied upon top-down government agencies that you can have. But what do you imagine it kind of going down here, for example? Like if they just said here, you know, tomorrow Boris Johnson comes on the news, says cryptocurrency, trading in Bitcoin is now illegal. If anyone caught doing it, you know, you're going to go.
I mean, obviously
what
like
would happen?
During after uni and stuff like that, right? It was all like conspiracies, and you're under the cosh, and the government, you can't do anything, and the man's got you down, all that stuff. And I've kind of gone way past that now, where I fully believe that you have no say in like anything, right? And I don't mean that pessimistically, because I think basically the ultimate goal almost is just total control, like one world government. It's like it feels for me like we're just like fighting for scraps at the moment. Like, I know this is controversial and I'm kind of jumping right into it.
We're going deep. No, this is good. I like this. This is my kind of territory.
It's like, I really feel like maybe the only way to have like proper peace is to get to a point where there is just like one world government. And it's like the more you kind of fight it, it's like you're convincing yourself that you have some kind of say in like fighting it. And obviously like there's injustice, and like people have done a lot of good through protests, like especially recently with all the Black Lives Matter and stuff. That does seem to be having an impact when kind of the masses get together. But in terms of, like Bitcoin and whether you have any power over that, like if they, obviously like you're saying, if they fear the cryptos and they fear that they're going to be losing their power, there's nothing you can do about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're going to have protests in the same way. Like if they just banned crypto, you're not going to have millions of people hitting the streets to protest crypto, I don't think.
No, because
it's very different when it's your human rights, and you're basically fighting for the right to just live equally is obviously far more powerful than your right to have your money in a different type of currency. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it's not just that. That's kind of like, but that is also fighting to live equally. That's the whole idea.
Like, I'm not really explaining it very well, because I believe that maybe if we do end up with one world government, it's not going to be the same in that they're not going to be harvesting us for our privacy in order to sell it for money and stuff, because they will just own the whole place.
So it might be better.
So it's like it might be better. You might get assigned a certain amount of money. Basically you could then eradicate money, like theoretically. Do you know what I mean? It's like you would then get, I don't know, that's a whole other system. It's like you get rewarded for effort, and then basically getting rid of money that's a whole other thing that maybe I'm not ready to chat about right now. But it's like possibly it would end up just much freer and less of this kind of capitalist everyone fighting each other. It's basically getting rid of fighting and competition.
Well, that's essentially, you're talking about something like the Venus Project, which is Do you know what I'm talking about with that?
Yeah, I've heard about the Venus Project, but I can't. Yeah, I know it's
what
about not
you're
having any
mentioning
culture.
is you're talking about this utopia where it is a one world government, and getting rid of fighting. The only way it could work is possibly by all of the governments working together, deciding that we're all going to pull in our resources. We're going to do a scan of the Earth. We're going to find everything that there is. We're going to work out how much shit we've got left that we can burn. Basically, all right.
Yeah,
we're gonna like the the unrenewable resources, and then basically we're gonna divvy it up between everyone. Yeah, we're gonna work it out, and then we're gonna move into like renewable energy sources. Work out how we can manufacture that. Give it all up. Don't have money. Don't own anything. No ownership, and you just rent stuff and you just borrow things, and everything's just like you got like public libraries of things. That you can just have access to. And basically, who's working, how's everything done? The answer, machines, automation,
Because that's
the far future, though.
If there was one controlling body over the whole Earth, do you think that they would still do fossil fuels? Do you know what I mean? The only reason people do fossil fuels now is because it's the way to get the most profit out of their activities. But if you owned the whole place, possibly you wouldn't think like that. You'd be more like, oh, we need to sustain it for the long term.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
No, I mean, that's an interesting point. That is, because I agree with you. I remember since I was a kid thinking, actually, a one world government. I remember thinking that. I was like, one day in the future, we'll probably... And the only reason I thought that is because I looked at the map and I saw it all divided with all of these different names. And I thought, all these different languages. And I thought, oh, that's bollocks, isn't it? It's just like...
That's it. It's divided up
that's all I saw. Yeah, literally. I just looked at the map and I saw these lines. And I was like, we made those lines. This is all just bollocks, isn't it? Yeah. And all these names. And they speak that and they call it that. And it's just like, you look at it, it's just like a bunch of land, a bunch of people and water in between. Yeah, and it's like... So it's not I feel like it's a goal that we should aim towards, but it's the how, right? It's like who runs that place. And so, okay, so that's an interesting point you say, right? So even if like a benevolent, right, or a malevolent force, let's say a malevolent, someone who has bad intentions, they end up taking over. It's all one world government. And then, the next generation take over, it's in place. They, like you said, are they going to be like, hang on, what's the point of?
Because it's all about getting a leg up over your competitor,
don't
so
have
that
competition.
You have more power and
exactly.
It's all about power, getting power.
That's it. So, but the fight to be that, I think that would be the goal. But no one's going to give up their fight to be that leader. In a way,
no one's. So there'll always be that fight to be
like
at the top. Yeah, but unless they get so powerful, and like you say, you've got cameras everywhere, you've got chips, you've got sentry drones, you've got all the horrific stuff that you see in sci-fi movies. We need all of that. Bring it on.
It's always coming, mate. It's coming.
Only once we have chips and drones will everyone truly be happy. You're never going to get the conspiracy nuts commenting on the Twitter that we're funded by the one world order, Eurasia.
Well, I mean, just succumb to the algorithm. Just let the AI overlords take over and just decide everything for us. Like, I think
that's the only way.
I might be happier, Why not?
I mean, there's this whole thing with there's that cryptocurrency that rewards you for watching ads and stuff, isn't there? There's a new browser that will basically you swap your time for money, which you can then use for other stuff. Like, I think they're looking at different ways of monetizing that stuff.
It's also terrifying as well. Do you remember the episode of Black Mirror? One of the first ones. And the guy basically they put an advert up, and you can't actually the program won't resume. If you close your eyes, you have to watch the rest of the ad if you want the program to resume. You can't. It will literally just everything will just go red and start going alarm. That's interesting. I mean, being paid to be wearing. I mean, are we all going to walk down the street? In this like future world, like everyone's covered in augmented reality. They've got their augmented reality glasses, and we've got you just wear your Coca-Cola t-shirt when you're going.
You get paid to wear
Depends
your
where you
Coca-
are, like, and who you are. Do you know what I mean? Like, as big as influencers you are, so everyone's going to be like basically a mini influencer, right? And the bigger influencer you are, like in what circles you roll in, all right? So obviously Paris Hilton will get paid like loads more for putting Coca-Cola on her handbag or whatever than you would on yours. It's because you won't be seen by as many people, for example. So yeah, that'd be fun.
But yeah, it's because rather than traditional ads, we're getting like there's that whole thing that if I talk to you now about something that I want to buy, I'll then start seeing ads for that and things like that. It's getting much more intrusive. Where
it's getting much more intrusive, and it's also seeping into other things. I mean, it started happening a long time ago, but more and more viral marketing.
Where you don't even realise it's an advert.
It's not even adverts, but they've just paid like a bunch of people just to do dances and do things and a catchy thing, and then like a year later that tune is then used on an advert that's seen somewhere else or whatever, but it's already been implanted in people's minds. So it's like this kind of thing. I mean, I remember I was approached by a company years ago. I made one of these about 10 years ago. I made a video of someone doing this like funky chicken dance, and it had to look like it was like just made like a home video. And basically made to look like a home video, like it was viral, and it was going to go on this. This was before TikTok, before any of these things and stuff. And we got paid, decent money just to like make one. And the guy was like, "Yeah, wicked. If you could just like make like 3 more." And I'm like, I can't think of I don't have that many mates who want to do this stupid dance in front of a camera, basically. But I was like, it was so easy. Basically, it was just like wicked. Just film it on your phone or a camera or whatever. I mean, we didn't even have camera phones then. It was just on a camcorder. But it was like doing things like that, and then basically it was all going to be part of this like moral marketing that other people were going to watch and then be like, "Oh, hey, look, this whole like crazy dance is kicking off," and then they'll start making their own videos.
Mate, you've got people queuing up to do that now. I mean, that is the definition of an influencer.
Exactly,
isn't it?
man. I mean, this is the thing. It's all these things are like people cannot wait. So it's like you ask. I mean, like you ask some young kid. I mean, not that I have asked some young kids and gotten this answer, but I feel like I'm just completely making this up. But I mean, it's like I feel like if I was to ask some young kid, they'd be like, what do you want to be?" Like, they'll probably say, "Oh, I want to be an influencer." You know what I mean? That's an answer. That's actually a viable option as a career move. Like, and it's like, why not? They look at it, why not? I see my dad, my mom slaving away, doing all this, doing these jobs. And I look at this guy, and he's 18 and he's living in a mansion and he's just basically screaming and doing backflips on the camera and just they're living it up. Like, it's like, why not? They think of everyone else as a mug. You know what I mean? And it's kind of a hard
interesting
thing to argue. But I would say it's like, no, you've got to get a real job and actually do something that's worthwhile. Don't you realize that you're actually just going to be a product, that you're actually just a marketing tool for these giant corporations? It's like, fuck you, douchebag. I'm going to live in a mansion and fucking wave a packet of crisps and do backflips.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like if my son wanted to be an influencer, I don't know if I could say no, because it sparked something when you were saying that, is that the reason that I got into motion graphics and sitting on a computer is I can remember like the time it happened is because my dad's was a builder, and he used to come home and he'd be absolutely knackered. Do you know what I mean? And he'd look, be absolutely knackered. And I can remember thinking, I don't ever want to do that. Do you know what I mean? And he'd take me, I'd go out and I'd be like shoveling tiles in the sun and he'd give me like £5 for the day. And I remember his mate going, "Oh, wait till he finds out about minimum wage and stuff." And I didn't know. I didn't know for years what he meant by that. But it's literally like watching him work so hard that I decided to do motion graphics. So if my son was like, "Well, I'm watching you like slave away going up to London and whatever, and I just want to sit at home and be an influencer," how can I be like, "No, get a proper job"? It's just like the cycle continues.
I'm like my old man. No, I mean, it's. I mean, the thing I don't have any kids, but I try to steer them away from something like that. I feel like, because just to have something of value, I feel like these bubbles burst. I don't feel like these influencers, like I feel like some of them come and go. I'm not sure they'll come and go. They're not going to have these riches forever. They'll move on. They'll get old. They won't necessarily keep.
I mean, it is maybe still like a trade or a skill, though. Do you know what I mean? Keeping an audience entertained to a camera. Say it does all burst. I mean, there's still jobs where you have to do that. I suppose like media and presenters. There's always going to be TV shows and content and stuff. Flight attendant.
Just join the circus, son. It's like, or be an influencer on TikTok. I mean, it's pretty much like. I mean,
that's the segment.
Yeah, that's the segment.
Are we going to talk about Love, Death and Robots and Army of the Dead?
Okay, is it movie time?
Movie time.
Movie time. Movie time. Hey.
So, movie time this week. We're going to talk about Love, Death and Robots, Season 2.
LDR.
You've seen it, right?
I've seen it. I've seen all of them.
That's a good start.
There was 8 episodes in this one, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched all of them. So full spoiler breakdown, right?
Spoiler alert. Woo!
Yeah, I don't know. I can't put visual spoiler alert, but just gotta listen. So spoiler alert.
So if you haven't seen them, go away, watch them now. Turn this off.
Pause, watch them, come right back.
That's it. So, I mean, Love, Death and Robots, obviously right up my street. Just, it's kind of like a dream show, like a dream series for me.
Yeah.
Because you always used to watch shorts back in the day and you'd get 1 or 2 and they were hard to find. And so like the idea that they've brought together like all these amazing companies, amazing talent to produce this series is great. It's like your passion has become mainstream.
Yeah.
So they are obviously absolutely incredible. Like the whole series is fantastic. Both series, 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's great. This series was shorter, I think. They a lot less episodes than they did in the first one.
Yeah, so there was like 18 in the first one, and then 8 in this one.
I suppose. I mean, I don't know how long. I'm not even sure how they're made. Whether they're all just like commissioned, or whether they were just like pulled together as a curated.
So I was trying to watch some of the behind the scenes and stuff like that. So they're commissioned. They commission companies to make them. So I think it's a bit of both. They find people who've maybe started. They hire people to do ones.
Right. So do you think maybe that's why they had maybe in the first season they could have collected and created, and then perhaps the second season they put up the funds for it, and I suppose it's been a year.
Yeah, so I think they were just saying that they want to, because obviously they had longer to get the first season together. So now for this one, they want a more rapid release. So that's what I read. So the season 3 has already been commissioned.
Right. Okay.
And they're going to keep going, but it's just a shorter time between each season.
Okay. So they're not going to. It doesn't necessarily have to be every year. Okay, cool. I really enjoyed it. I thought there were some great ones. In this one, I'll go just looking at the kind of order, going through them. If you want, do you want to go through them? Like just any of them? Or do you want to just?
Is this season better than the first season? That's what I'll ask you first.
Oh, tough. I would say no. For me, the first season had some.
I mean, you got a lot more in the first season. It's a bit of an unfair fight.
You got more
to choose from.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I think there was just maybe a few more episodes in the first season that kind of like stuck with me, especially The Witness, which was the girl getting chased through the city by this dude. And
so that's the kind of hyper realistic painterly style.
Really cool style, man. Like I've never seen anything like that before. That really got me. The way it moved as well, like the frame rate and like the cloth of the characters.
Yeah.
And it was hyper, like it was stylized. It was like
it's stylized, but it's almost like painted footage. It's really weird. It's hard to put your finger. It's like super realistic in some moments, but then really stylized in other moments.
Super realistic. Like it looks like real, like almost like it moves in a really realistic fashion, but actually like, not completely correct proportions, a stylized look, in a way of some of the characters and some of the way the things were. Absolutely. That one blew me away. I enjoyed the robots with the cats. What episode? When they're kind of like walking through there, that was quite funny. The yogurt episode, I remember that one was great. That made me laugh. The yogurt taking over when it gives the Earth the equation to like how
I
to
can't remember. I need to go
because they
back
have
and
the
watch.
equation of like how to sort out the world economy, but it has to stick to the plan exactly. But then people don't stick to the plan exactly. They're like, no, you have to do exactly what the yogurt says.
Mate, I think the first season I pretty much watched in one go as well. It just so they just fly by.
Yeah, they've gone. But I mean, those are the ones. But I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love the second season as well. I thought there was some great ones. I enjoyed the first episode, automated customer service, the first robot one. It was fun. But I wasn't like crazy about it. I think there was something a bit.
No, it was a bit silly.
It was the way the characters they didn't have any dialogue in it. I don't think, and the way it felt like.
Well, it's sort of one mood as well, one note.
It was a little bit, and it felt like it was a little bit kind of cartoony, a little bit too cartoony for me in a way where it wasn't that exciting.
Yeah,
I don't know. What do you think? I thought it was okay. It was all right. It was a good start.
So, what is the question? What are my favourite episodes?
Yeah, it's just what was what other ones kind of stood out?
Well, so first, I mean, there's only really one. There's one that I loved more than any other.
I know which one it is
of both seasons. I don't reckon you'll be able to get which one's my favourite of both seasons.
I think your favourite is the drowned giant. Huh?
No, see, that's my favourite of season 2. My favourite ever episode is called Suits, and it's the one about the farmers. And they basically each of them have these big mech suits, and there's basically tears in the rift, and then it's basically a total rip-off of StarCraft.
Okay.
And so it's like hillbilly redneck, but then really beautiful mech suits, and they're shooting all these swarming aliens coming at them, and they have to get in the bunker.
Yeah. I vaguely I do remember that one. I have to say that wasn't really my favorite.
I just love the mood, John. I just absolutely love that.
Interesting.
That
was your
sci-fi. I think I love America. I've always been to America a lot when I was younger. There's just something about the that kind of, it's like Texas ranch feeling. I don't know. Anyway, I love that. I just love that because it's probably the one that's most human and it's got the most feeling. Okay. But yeah, season 2, definitely the downed giant on the beach. It's just incredible, man. It's like the English voiceover. Just like a scientist who, I mean, are we going to talk about this? So basically a giant washes up on the beach, and it's the story of a scientist who's kind of taking notes and analysing this giant and observing this
naked
giant
young man who looks like a normal human person. Doesn't look like a real person.
But it's that's what's so great about it, is it kind of ignores the fantasy of it, and it becomes about this guy's day to day of like taking notes on this giant. And so you have this real beautiful, surreal visuals mixed with this kind of, it's really hard to explain, but yeah, this guy's kind of day to day.
It was about his journey. The guys, it wasn't it wasn't about the giants at all. There wasn't, like the giant just represented this otherworldly mystery, this something like larger than life, this question. And then this beauty almost, which then is absolutely degraded. And the way, it's a comment on society. The way, I did it really laugh, and I thought, that's absolutely what would happen. It's typical. It's like the people just climbing on his body and straight away, graffitiing all over it. And the way it just kind of, you see it.
I did laugh out loud when the kids were like sliding down his belly.
It was beautiful. I mean, it sent tears down my eyes right towards the end. I was like holding them back. Actually, it was beautiful. It was amazing the way like the voiceover led and the narrative, just that connection he felt with it, and just I don't know. I guess I felt this thing that was like some epicness, some otherworldly epicness, and then this kind of made humanity look small. Literally in size, that was next to him, but also small-minded in a way of what they were doing to that body and what it was being used for, and and being degraded and being like, and then being forgotten about as well. The kind of the how human human wonder, and it would be like everyone would be there on day 1 taking selfies, and on day 8, it's like, nah, not bothered. You know what I mean? It's like that wonder,
collecting souvenirs,
just whatever, collecting souvenirs, it's rare, whatever. I mean, it's a meme now, and then the wonder of that giant, of the epicness, of that even mystery of why he appeared. It's kind of not even bothered. It's not even, the people ain't even bothered by it. I do find that. I know, and I find that's kind of a sad truth. I thought, I think people who do have a bit of a kind of social amnesia of events and things, and I think things like that would just kind of go.
See, I think with that one, I need to watch them all again. But with that one, I think I get lost in the narrator, the voiceover, and the poetry of the way he's speaking and the beautiful visual. Like for me, it's like it's not almost not even about the story on that one. Like, although it is a fantastic story, I just love I can't even explain it. I just love the narrator and the kind of soft way he speaks and the poetry of it.
It was very nice.
It's kind of what I get lost in.
It was very nice. It was a gentle, pleasing, nice thing to watch. It wasn't harsh in any way, and it was kind of like comforting. For some reason, it kind of I don't know why, there was something very English about it. It reminded me of, not that it had anything to do with it, but I don't know why Douglas Adams sprung to mind, or something like that.
No, it's exactly that. Yeah, it's that English narrator. That's that Stanley Parable, the similar narrator, and it's like kids' cartoons and is it, Mr. Ben or whatever it is. It's that, it's kind of comes back to my childhood, and that's why I get lost in that kind of speaking and that voice. But yeah, absolutely fantastic.
That was beautiful. The other one, a lot of people are talking about. I mean, there's several that were great. There's two other like stick out ones for me in terms of just the technicality, how they looked. Was Snow in the Desert and Life Hutch. Now these two are like up there with like the best things I've ever seen in terms of animation.
Yeah, best CGI ever. Yeah.
Seriously, best CGI ever. Okay, so Snow in the Desert, probably let's say out of the two, maybe the less super realistic one, but even that's hard to say. That it's just only comparison to Life Hutch.
Well, there's certain shots and things like where it looks real.
Yeah,
they've got to the point where half the shots just look real. Yeah, I'd say
it's exactly, and I think it just looked amazing. It was apart from that, how really it looked. It was really beautiful, stunning design in that one. The epic kind of like deserts and the wasteland. I enjoyed the story. I did enjoy the character as well. The lady that kind of like follows him around. And
so, what's his story again? He's I can't even remember what's special about him again.
That he can't die. He's
like superhuman.
Yeah, basically, he's kind of superhuman, and he's kind of seems to be like living forever. Or he's not. He's constructed. I can't remember, but essentially, it turns out that the person that he can share a lifetime with is this robot. Who's that woman? Who turns out?
That's it. He's like hyperhuman, and they're trying to get his balls. Basically,
they're trying to cut his balls off. They're trying to get his balls.
That's the whole story, is about how they're trying to cut his balls off.
Yeah, and then, I was more thinking about how the loneliness of living forever, and the fact that he met this person who was also a robot, and she could live forever, but she was a little bit human, wasn't she? She's like internals. Yeah, she's like the spinal,
half and half.
The spinal cord and the things like were brain. We're human, but eventually.
Oh, okay, I didn't even twig that. So I didn't even twig any of that. So the reason he loves her so much is she can live forever as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they found each other. Like that's the only thing they could also.
I think I was still picking my jaw up off the floor with the CGI. I think that's why I need to watch it again. I get so lost.
Yeah, exactly. And
CGI.
Yeah, I need to watch them again. Sometimes you do. I think to really kind of. Just apart from like just looking at it, being like, okay, right, let's just go back and all the bits I missed when my jaw was on the floor, and I need to check that out. The other one, what was it? Life Hutch with Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, that was insane.
Well, I got to a point in that where I said, "Is it? This is not CGI." I was like, "This is not CGI. Yeah. I don't care what you say. It's not." You're lying. But then that's what I was saying to you. But then, as soon as he like stood up and leant on the wall. And it just looked a bit dodgy. Like they can't. I think movement is the one thing that they still struggle with. Proper movement of characters and their weight and weight transferring and all that stuff. Yeah, you can just tell. You pick up.
But then you say that and you think, well, but the thing is, all of it's still motion captured as well. So like that's actually someone just doing that.
Yeah, but the motion capture is not 100%.
It's not 100%.
So you don't get. You don't get the weight transfer.
You say, yeah. I mean. The weight.
So that's the bit I noticed. He leant against the wall, and it was just like he was made out of concrete. Just like, it's like, yeah. I think that's still the thing they struggle with. I think the facial capture on that one was incredible.
It was amazing. I was like looking at the dude, and I'm like, hang on, because it looked like him, but it wasn't exactly like him. It was like a slight alteration. Face, was different, and but yeah,
that's what I wanted to say as well. That slightly disappointed me that both of the stories had like robots that went wrong, and then there's two of the episodes had robots that went wrong and then tried to kill somebody, and that was the entire story of the episode. The first one where the robot goes wrong, I guess, is about our reliance on the kind of Amazon Echoes or whatever in your home. Kind of the extension of that, isn't it? That you're reliant on this drone, and then if that goes wrong, it has too many powers and all that. It's kind of, so the first one had a bit more interesting concepts in it, but yeah, the life hutch was literally him in a hutch, stuck. Yeah, robot try kill. That was it. I think.
I to be honest, I thought there was going to be a bit of a different ending to that one. He just kind of like beat the robot with its own leg. And then just stomped its head, and then the light went out. And
I think maybe they spent so much time on the CG that they forgot to. They ran out of time. No, I don't know. That's not.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, it was enjoyable. Still, it was well done, and you made you feel it definitely. And that robot was quite scary as well. It was definitely had that weight and presence. It was quite interesting that it was like you could look at him right in the eye, but as long as he didn't move, it couldn't tell that it was him. It's like a bit of a shit camera, really, or a sensor in a robot that advanced. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, my iPhone can see my face, unlock my phone. They've got this like mech dog out on like a barren planet, and it's like can't tell a human face when it's like 2 inches away. It's all right. All right. No, it was malfunctioning, wasn't it? I suppose. It's malfunctioning. Yeah. So, all right, you could have that excuse. Okay. That's why it just went bad. It went bad and couldn't tell anything apart from anything, and wanted to just kill everything. Yeah, which is fair enough. There was one other one that
I'm trying to remember some of the other.
Do you remember the Santa one?
Oh yeah, that was great. Actually,
good. I like that. Is that all through the house? So the Santa one, and there's another one I want to mention. Is it Ice? I think it's Ice, where they're running.
Yeah, the brother.
The two brothers. Now that, for me, I think was one of the best looking episodes in this. Like we talk about Life Hutch and Snow in the Desert and stuff like that. And as far as they, hats off for realism and stuff like that. I think the way and the animation and the way people moved in Ice was next level. It was immense. It's something that, just sticks with me. And the way it looked and it moved. Really. I thought for me that was the most interesting animation and the most beautiful one in terms of the way it looked. And it was a cool ride as well. That was just, that kind of coming of age moment where you just like have to face that challenge, run away from the ice, helping his friend. They kind of just make it by the skin of their teeth. It's cool. It's a bit of a buzz.
Well, it's quite nice. It's like two brothers, isn't it? And one of them's augmented and one of them isn't. And he takes him out onto the ice where they attract these whales and then they run away from them.
And they just kind of like leg it. First of all, they smoke these pipes or these inhalers and they get high. And he's just first time he doesn't know where he is or what's going on. Yeah. And then they're legging it. But yeah, that whole street scene before when they're in the town and then they got all those kind of like drug addicts and people like on those corners and stuff like that. That looked amazing. Like when they were walking past there, the style of animation, just there's something about it. The camera work, the way it moved, it looked like nothing else before. It looked really cool.
There's quite an interesting one about the basically the bounty hunter type guy who essentially has to go and kill all the children. Was pretty harrowing.
Oh.
It's like a society where you're not allowed to have kids.
Yeah.
And because everyone's immortal and certain people branch off and kind of have kids anyway, and they live in like the slums, and there's like these bounty hunters who are sent to basically find them, and one of them starts to question what he's doing with his life, kind of thing. But I thought that had some really nice kind of emotions in it, and some pretty dark scenes and stuff as well. That was a really nice episode.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that story. It looked cool as well. It looked nice. And then there was the one about the chap. This one looked like a 3D painting. You know, the one with the guy on the train, and there's the train instructor, and he just tells him to not wander too far off this train.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I really like that as well.
Yeah, that one was kind of fun, and he looked cool as well because it had that style. Like it looked like like 3D paint strokes.
Yeah, I think I do like that kind of animation. That's why the first season with Suits is a similar look.
Yeah. But the one I really liked, I thought was possibly just a great idea. Maybe even like just one of the funnest ideas actually in the whole season was the Santa Claus one. Yeah, I mean that is great. That's such a good gag, such a good way, because it's like that's the truth. In fact, that's how I think the original Sinterklaas, in Holland and all these things. It's like, it was a scary dude. These are where the myths come from. It was someone's like, be good. Or, they're like, Santa Claus will come and get you. You won't get any presents. And if you're not good, and you know what I mean? If you believe Santa Claus was some like fat, jolly man in a suit, like Coca-Cola painted him, you're not going to be worried about being bad, are you? He looks like a nice guy. He's probably going to sort you out a gift no matter what. You know what I mean?
Give me a gift anyway.
Whatever, mate. It doesn't matter if you're a chief. Like, whereas this guy with his like kind of, it's almost reminded me of like Pan's Labyrinth. When he puts his hands up by his sides and stuff like that, does that like little creature face. That was brilliant because he's like, he drinks the milk, eats the cookies with his life.
So I think they maybe this season they did get a lot more emotion in. Maybe emotions kind of making it too simple, but there's a lot of intense atmosphere and a lot more heavy stories, I'd say.
Yeah, in terms of the heavy atmospheres. Yeah, I think the first season probably. I think in terms of the lighter ones, it would probably be I think that Santa Claus one and the giant one even, but even they're kind of like quite dark in their own way, know.
It's a bit of a shame there's sort of none you can show your kids, none I can show my son really. They're all pretty.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you want to scare him, show him the Santa Claus one. It's like, better be good. You want your Christmas presents?
Yeah.
I know, but at the same time, yes and no. I think kids have plenty of content that is great and is CGI. Like Disney do some cool stuff with all the Star Wars things. There's a new Star Wars one, The Bad Batch. And
what's that?
So it's just about a bad batch of like Empire soldiers gone bad, basically. Right. So they're just kind of like their own kind of rebels. They're not rebels. They're not like the good guys. They're not the bad guys either. They're not stormtroopers. They're like bad stormtroopers gone bad in terms of the Empire's point of view. So they're kind of good. Anyway,
okay.
So
kid show,
cool. What I'm saying is, kids got plenty of stuff, man. Like I like the fact that Love, Death and Robots and there are these adult animations. Like there isn't enough of that, and that's what is missing in the market. What is this kind of thing? It is things like Love, Death and Robots, where we do have can explore these themes in these beautiful styles.
I don't know how mainstream it is, how many people are into it. I mean, obviously we're into it because it's our bag, but I think
it's quite big. I mean, it's not like front page of Netflix. They promote it, they pimp it out. I think a lot of people do like it. I don't think it's just people in the creative field. Although I did mention it to a few people yesterday and they'd never heard of it, and I was a bit like, "What? How?"
Yeah, well, my wife won't watch any. I forced her to watch the giant on the beach one.
Yeah.
And she was just like, meh. I don't know, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. Some people find it very difficult to have a connection or any emotional connection with, unless they're looking at a human being. If they're looking at a cartoon, they're just like, I just can't emote to it.
I don't know.
Some people have that. Who said that to me. which is fine. It's weird. I don't know. It's just... You're not going to get everyone into that. Yeah, that's cool. I really loved it. What else did you want to talk about?
What, in terms of movie time?
Yeah, we done with. I know there's another movie, wasn't there?
There's another movie that we both watched this week. Well, I watched this week called Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead,
which is Zack Snyder. So again, spoilers because, yeah. I mean, shall I just go straight into what I think of it?
Yeah. So let's go. I mean, okay. So I'm gonna have to kind of tap out a little bit on this one because I was tired.
So yeah, Mickey texts me like, "Oh, let's both watch Army of the Dead," right? So basically, I'd seen this coming for a while. I was actually really excited for it because the trailers look fantastic, and I'd read a bit about it. Basically, it's a zombie film by Zack Snyder where they essentially do a heist on a casino. But obviously the twist is there's no one in the casino except zombies, and they have to kind of do the job and get the blueprints and the classic, stereotypical. But yeah, I mean, so it opens up and it's basically a group of army men transporting this container, and that's pretty good. It's pretty light-hearted banter, and they're making jokes about what's in the container. Is it Elvis? Is it whatever? And that was kind of good. And then they have this big car crash, huge explosion. And obviously the container opens and, they're told on the radio, get the hell out of there. And they don't, obviously. And then straight off the bat, I was like, oh, no, because I've got this real thing. I think I've mentioned it before. I've got this thing about zombies do not run and zombies are not strong. Like, that's kind of my view. Right. And so this big bad zombie comes out and he's hyper strong and hyper fast and he's kicking the crap out of everybody. I was like, oh, God. But, I mean, I did go back on that because it's quite interesting the way they do the zombies is they split it up. So you've got these kind of more intelligent ones and the slow ones. So I kind of was like, okay, I'll let it, let it go.
I mean, they developed in this one, they had something I've not seen before. They had a zombie queen. They had the Khaleesi.
Yes.
And basically her guy. It was like the Game of Thrones. That's why I mentioned it. It was like Khaleesi. Yeah. It was like the horse lord in the first season. So yeah, that was they actually had like a hierarchy and a thing. She was like the queen, and she was pregnant.
Yeah,
right.
So we're getting straight into the meat.
Well, this was like early on. This is like not deep into the film, like because as I'm about to admit, I didn't watch the whole film. I was tired, and I kind of like it's like no, I want to watch this properly. So I got to about halfway, and my eyes just couldn't keep open anymore. And so I want to finish the second part. But from what I saw of the first part, was that they had that hierarchy of zombies, right?
Yeah,
and so there's a prince and a queen.
Shortly after this car crash, basically is I'd say one of the best intros of a movie like ever, right? I thought, this is a roller coaster, right? So as soon as this car crash happens, they start playing Viva Las Vegas on the soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
and basically you're like, oh my days, there's like so much happening. There's thousands of zombies, there's guys with chainsaws, there's like Eiffel Towers falling down, explosions. It basically shows in a very short space of time how zombies took over the whole of Vegas. And which I quite like. I was like, all right, they're kind of setting it all up in this massive, epic, long, really good intro. Do you remember the kind of dancing girls, the showgirls, zombies who were like in the. That was amazing. So right at the start, they're like in a pool.
Oh yeah,
and there's all the there's like the rich guy in his silk dressing gown, and they're chasing him, and then there's like blood sprays all up the walls. And I was like, this is going to be like really fun, hyper violent kind of all slow motion, Viva Las Vegas, but like really good intro. And then I'd say there's probably like half an hour, so it's 2.5 hours, which is quite long for this kind of movie. But yeah, so shortly after that intro, it kind of slows down, and then
Snyder in his slow-mo. He was playing normal time, would be an hour and a half.
It slows down, and it's like starts to introduce all the characters and stuff like that. And this is where I sort of started to sort of tune out, because it's like, this is what I was going to say to you, is that like none of the characters really had anything unique. Like I think how it's got to work in these kind of films is that every character is kind of a stereotype, and you know where you are with that character. Do you know what I mean? This guy is the scared guy. This guy is the hero, the beefcake.
Yeah.
This guy is that. And it seemed like they almost had two of every type. It's almost like they had a male and female version of each kind of stereotype. And then like a couple that were just in the middle. So it was just very hard to care about anybody in it, because there's like 12 of them or something, 8 of them as well.
Yeah, I barely got to know any of the characters. I didn't really like. You felt like you didn't really get to know any of them. I didn't really like any of them that much. I remember even finding it kind of at one point being like this girl who barely says anything for the whole movie, just turns to Batista, the guy, the main guy, right? And starts going, there's this monologue of just like ranting at him about, you know, how he was never there for her, and he's like sorry and all this. And I'm like, and I'm there, and I just turned to him, I'm like, I didn't even know that she was his daughter. Like, I had no idea of that relationship. I'm just like, whoa, did I miss that? And I'm just like, apart from the person not really even saying anything for about, it's literally 45 minutes, an hour into the movie, and you just got this like monologue of ranting, and he's just like, sorry, you know, and they're just like wedging this father-daughter moment in. I think that was the point where I was like, I'm going to bed.
Mate, some of that was embarrassing. It was like they're walking along, it's like all this action, like da 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 da, and then the music was stopping, like, have I ever told you about my food truck that I'm going to set up? It's just like, what, like out of nowhere. God. Like, you didn't even get to the grilled cheese sandwiches. Mate, I wish you'd watched it just for the grilled cheese sandwiches. Such a load of shit. There's like 3 scenes where, they just literally like cut, and then they're like, oh, so what are we going to do when we get out of here? What are you going to do with all the money? And he's like, oh, I was thinking I'm going to set up this little food van. And then he's like, so what are you going to cook? And he's like, oh, grilled cheese sandwiches. And then so basically they use that throughout the rest of the film as like anytime they need a touching moment, he's just like, hey, I was thinking maybe lobster rolls. Yeah, I'm going to do lobster rolls in my van.
Oh, God.
Like out of nowhere.
Yeah, just
using it was like a device. They were like, oh, yeah, well, no, we can just, if we need a bit of tender moment, we can just bring up, well, I'm going to do donuts. Yeah. It's just like, what the hell?
I mean,
like dreadful.
It's dreadful because, so Zack Snyder, this goes just clearly to just always showcase and remind people that it's the writers. Look at the writers behind a movie. Don't look at the directors necessarily, because Zack Snyder's directed some cool movies, and he also directed one of the ones I loved. He did Dawn of the Dead, right?
Did he?
Yeah, the remake. Remember one with Ving Rhames? Yeah, that one.
I like the remake. It's not as good as the original.
It's not as good as the original. The original is obviously the best. Yeah, classic. But the remake, I was like, it was years, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. Had some good bits, like those bits where they're just up on the rooftop, and then they're just like naming like celebrity lookalikes, like Jay Leno, and it's this guy like snipes him over there. It's just like, do you know what I mean? Like things like that. That was quality, and you know, and you look at that, and that's like, okay, the writers on that, it's like part of George Romero, James Gunn. All right, James Gunn, who's just like makes wicked things. Everyone knows James Gunn's like his writing. He's like done Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's now working for DC. He's doing a new DC things now. But anyway, so it's like the writing was quality there. All right, that was good. You had those cliched characters, you had those stereotypes, you had the cop, you had this guy, you had, you know, the scared person, you had the you know, all of these kind of like archetypes, and it worked. They had their relationship between each other. I felt no chemistry between any of these characters.
But that's what's weird, because it was like a long movie, 2.5 hours, and
it's literally
they used it for like weird action shots, not even action shots.
And sometimes there wasn't even enough action. You're like, why is this movie 2.5 hours long? There is no character development. I don't know anyone. It's all crap, right? So to be honest, and there's not enough like zombie bits either. Do you know what I mean? It was like there was like too many long scenes that were trying to make it out, and I just felt they were a little bit stupid when, like, let's face it, what's the name? Vasquez ripoff. So Vasquez wannabe, right? 50p Vasquez goes into 50p Vasquez goes into like the sleeping zombie room where they're all just standing there sleeping, right? Like 1 meter apart, just enough space for her to like sneak through. And she like,
what was that about?
I don't
There's
even
so
know
many
why she needed to go through
inconsistencies,
there
man.
and go through this thing.
So many inconsistencies.
I know. And then basically, you know, she gets the thing, whatever she needed to find. I don't know why it was important. And then basically, but she like jolts one of the zombies. You know, she like walks backwards and forgets that she's in this room surrounded by zombies.
And they set it up so much, man. They set it up by like she skirts past a pan and it like slides to the edge of the shelf. So they basically tell you, okay, in a minute, this is all going to kick off. It's like, man,
just like
there's no suspense there whatsoever.
I'm glad you felt like this, because I was a bit like, oh god, like if this turns out that it was a good film and something really cool happened in the end, and I'm like, I watched it halfway because I watched it halfway and I was struggling.
So I would say if you watched halfway, you've seen every single thing that movie had to offer you.
Then that's enough. I think
It only goes downhill from there. Like, not even downhill. It stays the same level of averageness the entire time.
The best bit was the intro, I think.
With terrible cutaways. Just watch the intro. Yeah, I'd say that. Just go and watch the intro.
Basically, put that on YouTube, watch the intro. Nice, good, like 2 minutes, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
Right? That's about all that movie really needs.
Yeah, I feel like we've done people a favour. Just don't even...
Don't bother, man. Save yourself.
Do you want to know? I bet, right, this is what I wanted to ask you. I'm quite excited about this. Do you know what is special about the character played by Tig Notaro? I think her name is.
No idea.
You don't know what's special about it? Do you know who Chris D'Elia is?
No.
Okay, so basically, they shot the entire film. So you know the character I'm talking about, Tig. She's brunette. She's quite short.
Okay.
Refers to herself as a guy the whole time. Flies a chopper.
Ah,
he didn't even get to the helicopter.
No, I remember. Yeah, it does. It's got the short hair. Yeah. I remember.
So they shot the entire film, and she was played by Chris D'Elia, a different guy. Right.
Okay.
So basically, Chris D'Elia, he was a comedian, stand-up comic, and he became famous on TikTok for doing like a rip-off impression of Eminem, which you may have heard. Okay. Where he's like flabbing the baskin and blagging the baskin, like he does this, like you know, like Eminem's shotgun rap style, like jibba the bat, a couple of napkins on the back of a napkin, like he does it. Yeah. And Eminem, like rather than Eminem getting offended, he actually put him on the end of his song. I think it's Caterpillar. So he put that whole like piss take impression of himself on the song, which I thought was pretty cool. But he basically got accused of some dodgy stuff. Do you know what I mean? Bad stuff. He soliciting sex pics from underage girls, right? Chris D'Elia. So this is all before lockdown. So they basically removed him, erased him from the film, and they replaced him with Tig. Now Tig did her whole part
on her own,
on green screen
with no one else there.
Right? Yeah, I mean, that's a fucking testament to the CGs. You didn't even realise.
I didn't realise that.
You didn't even realise. So some dude had to paint him out.
Testament to her acting, man. Fair play.
And he's like, I think he's like a foot taller than she is as well. Had to paint out. So they did like a clean plate first.
Wow.
The whole movie. And then they filmed her, on green screen. And like with all the bits where she has to touch other people and stuff, they had dudes in green suits doing like frame for frame, matching it up.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first time I've ever heard of an actor just being erased from a movie.
Usually they had to just go and do reshoots, but nowadays I suppose they just don't bother, do they? They're just like, nah.
Yeah.
They don't even need to do that. Could they, if some actor got fired, could they still use their body and performance in it, but then deep fake a face and a voice?
Well, that's
onto it, and then the other actor gets the credit.
Yeah, but I mean, I get why you didn't watch the whole film, because for me that was the best part about it, was the fact that I was looking out for all these shots, going, "What? How did they rub him out of that? Like crazy."
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. No, that might have made it better. I might have stayed awake for 5 more minutes if I knew that.
But yeah, I was duped because I only watched it because I was like, I don't want to let Mickey down. So I watched the whole. Like by the end, you know, when you watch a film, you're going, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" So literally, when she was like, I'm going to do lobster rolls, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, just shoehorn that in. I was like, so bad, man. Right at the end. Like,
I knew it was bad, man. I knew it was bad all the way. I was just like, wow. I was just like, I'm hoping something at least randomly cool happens in this movie that makes it worthwhile.
No, I mean that's the thing.
Nothing.
Like you can have a bad movie as long as there's like good bits.
Yeah, there was nothing that
something to.
There was nothing in there that was particularly fresh or new. Or there was no. It's like, look, have a shit movie, have no characters, but there was even bits where it looked like something like was going to happen, but it didn't. Like the bit where there was like someone got lifted up in the air or whatever, and it was a shot, and it looked like, oh, this is the moment where you're going to like see the zombies like rip his arms apart from his head, and we're going to do this like ridiculous epic like spinal cord coming out of the body thing, right? You know, like what zombie movies used to do back in the day. It was just like gore, things like that. They didn't even do that.
There was a fair amount of that. There was some good shots. There was
a few times when it felt like it was like missed.
Going for
it was like, hang on, you just put this guy right up to the camera, and you've done a moment where it's like that, and then literally falls away from it, and then gets covered in zombies.
Well, maybe they were going to, and then they didn't bother.
I was like, what? Yeah. It looked like
there was quite a few splats and quite a few savage, gruesome.
There were some bits, there was some fun, but everything seemed to get covered up. Like the pilot in the beginning, like that bit was great. Like he's like just falling, like shooting down at the ground, and you don't see what he's shooting at. And as the camera pans down, he's like, there's like a million zombies underneath him, and he's like just he's parachuting down slowly to his death.
So basically, just say that you don't have to go and watch. So basically, that main king guy, they end up killing the woman. Okay, right? They kill the female queen, and obviously the king is pissed. Right. And so the whole rest of the movie is basically they get in the safe, and then the king is like tracking them, and they end up, they were going to explode. They were going to drop a nuke on Las Vegas on the 4th of July.
That's right. They had a time limit. Yeah. The timer got set up in the beginning of the movie, literally in a minute.
So then there's like a TV shot where the president decides that would be wrong to do it on the 4th of July. We're going to bring it forwards a day. So they thought they'd have a day to spend. I mean, he's like, oh, it's so ridiculous. So they bring it forwards a day. So then they've only got like an hour and a half to get out.
The timer gets shorter.
Yeah. And basically, they basically fly out. Once they get in the safe, I mean, it's not even giving away much. Like, one of them gets thrown in the safe, right? So when it all goes to shit, someone shuts him in the safe, right? The guy who opened the safe pushes him in the safe, right? So you know one guy's in there. So then they carry on the whole rest of the film. They fly out on the chopper. Basically, everybody dies. And then you see the guy, obviously, you think the movie's ended, and he opens the safe door, and he's in the middle of this nuclear explosion site. And basically, he gets out with all the money, and you're like, yeah, he gets on a plane. And then obviously, oh, what's this? I've got a bite. And then, so they've basically set it up for a sequel.
Yeah. Well, not only it's not a sequel, mate. I've just looked on IMDb. It's a TV series of it. So it's Dawn of the Dead, Viva Las Vegas.
That's a TV series?
TV series.
I mean, I imagine a TV series would probably be better.
Well, hopefully. I mean, if they get some decent writers on it, I think this is the thing. You just need some kind of fun writers on it, some decent characters. It's like all of these movies, man. It's like, you've got everything there. What winds me up about it is when you've got everything there, you've got all the cast, you've got the crew, you've built everything, you've got the money, you've
so
literally,
sad.
It's like, you've got it all there. It's like, why have you not just put in some cool ideas? Why have you not just tried a little bit harder? Why have you not, it's like... I
suppose the zombie tiger was supposed to be the good idea.
The zombie tiger was embarrassing. Like, it was a bit like,
it's just like, why?
I didn't care.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's like there wasn't a single good, apart from the intro, there wasn't a single good idea.
There wasn't any ideas in it, man. Yeah, the intro was like the fun bit. And if it had something approaching that in the movie, it was like, it would have been interesting, but it was nothing. It was like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like Zombieland you could watch, and there's like loads of fun things in that. There's loads of fun ways of dealing with things and just interesting things, and the way the guy's dealing with it and his character. And then like 1,000,001 like zombie joke things that you haven't seen before. And it's like, why just do a movie like that when you've got it all and you've just done nothing? You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
Love and Monsters is way better. And probably a quarter of the budget.
Yeah, we mentioned that last time. Watch that instead.
All right, nice one. I've had fun.
Nice one, Will.
Another fantastic episode. We talked about. We didn't get into the meaning of life. We talked about. We didn't even get into the meaning of life. Talked about politics. We split our audience of two in half.
Oh, I think so.
Talking about politics.
I think we went down a rabbit hole of politics and conspiracy theories and one world governments and all sorts. But yeah, hope hope you enjoy that bit. Take it with a pinch of salt. Just a ramble.
Yeah, if you don't agree, then let us know on the Twitter, and we'll have you on the podcast. If you don't agree, fuck off. Yeah. No, everybody, as you say, it's all about love, and we should all benefit from each other's knowledge. It's not about nobody's right.
That's true. We love you.
Thanks for listening. We love you. Thanks for getting to this part of the podcast. Any comments are just massively appreciated at this point. Any encouragement on Twitter, any comment, anything you want us to talk about. Honestly, if I get one person who says please talk about bananas, I will do an episode on bananas, because I just really appreciate the feedback and the support.
Can I just say, can that one person not ask that comment to talk about bananas? Something else, that'd be great, because someone's blatantly going to do that now, aren't they? We're going to get bananas all over the...
Well, yeah, something to do with creativity. OG Creative Podcast would be great.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's great. It's been fun, and yeah, check us out on Twitter, is where we have bit of engagement.
Twitter, OGC_podcast on Twitter.
Yeah, another big shout out to my man Zero Alpha NZ.
Yeah, Chris Eubanks.
Wicked. Thanks. Yeah, man, love you all. Until next time.
Peace.